Um, if you could pull that up on your laptop, the tracker data for 3.5, because it has more than doubled. It has actually almost tripled.
Justin, what I'm going to do is go ahead and make you the host. Let
Okay.
me find the link that Dr. Blessman is talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll put it in the chat for you to open it up.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So let me tell folks about, at least, what's happening on one of the things that's happened on my end. So my child goes to a school, and they mentioned that they were going to start having field trips again, and they have a field trip planned for the Adler Planetarium here in Chicago on March 18th. So one of the parents wrote back, uh, basically saying that was the school going to require masks, and if not, you know, his child wouldn't be going as long as the school was going to make masks a requirement. So, and this was sent to all 75 of the. Okay, so somewhere I got unmuted. I don't know how far we got into that story. But anyway, so I went online and looked at the Adler Planetarium's COVID precautions and COVID regulations. And, they talked about not requiring visitors anymore to show proof of vaccination. As of February 28th, you don't have to show proof of vaccination. You don't have to wear a mask, but they are mask friendly, but you don't have to wear a mask. They talked about how their staff was going to be masked, and their staff has all been vaccinated. Okay. So I know that we sent out a letter to our community about how we felt about them reducing sort of the mask mandates or some of the mandates. And in the first paragraph, I talked about the fact that this was done as a political move. Politicians are concerned about their poll numbers. There are people who don't like the mask, and speaking negatively about them, and that this was primarily a financial move because people want to get, start getting, uh, building the economy and getting it more robust again and that kind of thing. So, so we understand the reasons why the government has reduced some of the requirements or not making them requirements anymore. But one of the things that people may not, or that this family may not have recognized about something that, because I went and looked, when I read the COVID procedures for the Adler, I really went through them all. Like, okay, what else are they doing? And one of the things that was really interesting was, and I didn't know that until I looked through their website, was that they had enhanced their air filtration system, and so that they can purify the air and reduce the amount of viral pathogens that are in the air. Now, I'm going to go over to Adler. I'm getting ready to do that as a field trip to go check them out and find out, all they did, and and all that. But I think that's a good thing, because we've already talked about the fact that if you wanted to have schools, if you wanted schools to be safe and for students not to have to wear masks, all you have to do is upgrade the HVAC systems to get rid of the pathogens, and you can have schools where you don't have to wear masks. There are a lot of buildings, and there's newer buildings that are already building this technology into their infrastructure, particularly their HVAC systems, so that the buildings, they call them sick buildings anyway, because when they had closed in buildings that did not allow fresh air to come in, you had lots of pathogens in the air anyway. So now they're trying to make buildings healthier by creating these HVAC systems that get rid of bacteria and mold and all kinds of viral particles and PMT 2.5s and smoke and dust and mildew and all of that. So, so I was happy to see that the Adler Planetarium had actually upgraded their HVAC system, and that's some of the reason why they can, to some extent, say you can come into their facility without a mask. So, of you know, but I just want you to know that yeah, this this debate is raging on. People are going to be talking about, oh, you don't need to wear a mask and taking the mask off and all of that. But I said all 75 parents, since this one parent made this dig at the school for wanting to, because they require masks in the school. But I sent the note to the all 75 of the parents that some of the reason why you can go maskless in the Adler is because they've upgraded their HVAC systems, and they've created an environment that reduces the viral pathogens. There's as I mentioned, there's technologies that are coming out that will allow, like there's an organization called mCloud that's going to allow building engineers. It's a system that you can put inside of buildings to let them monitor like viral pathogens, bacterial pathogens, mildew pathogens, all of that within a building. And it's a fairly new technology. I think they just IPO'd maybe I want to say 7-8 months ago. So as we think about going out into the universe and our children going out into the universe and all the pressure, the that they're going to face, we need to be strong about our position and where we stand. So I sent all 75 of these parents the letter that I sent to you guys. And I told them, I said, this is the letter that I sent to my community. Now, I don't know, I'm hoping that everybody had a chance to review it, to read it and to review it.
I did.
But, okay, good. Um, um, because I think, I wanted people to, when I saw the data and when I saw what was coming out of the CDC, it was the day after we had met that the data got published. And at that point, it said it had doubled. But if you look at it now, it's like it's tripled. Because I talked about, okay, below is the letter I sent out to my clients, constituents, and patients. We care about you. The biosafety mandates are being lifted all over the US. We believe that decision was premature based on a desire to boost the US economy and based on politicians' fears about their poll numbers rather than based on science and what we do know. The BA.2 virus, a subvariant of the Omicron coronavirus variant, is spreading faster than its distant cousin. It may also cause more severe disease and appears capable of thwarting some of the key weapons we have against COVID-19. BA2 doubled this week per the 226 CDC report released on 3/2. I anticipate it will have doubled again when the data comes out tomorrow on 3/9. The nowcast shows it has already tripled. So if you look on there now, and I'm gonna have Justin pull it up, BA2 will likely be the predominant variant by the 3rd week of March. Omicron, and specifically the BA.2 variant, is now the 2nd most infectious virus in the world, just behind measles. While we see a recent decrease in infection, hospitalization, and death rates, as BA2 spreads over the coming weeks, infections and hospitalization rates will likely climb back up. The current decreases may only be a temporary reprieve. Please keep your masks on or your personal ionizers and air purifiers going if you are choosing to go maskless. especially if you are over 55, if you are immunocompromised, have comorbidities, including obesity. Because remember, if you have a BMI over 41, COVID is looking for you. You got too many fat cells that it can attach to. If you are unvaccinated, or if you live with someone who falls within the above categories. So you should still practice your biosafety. First of all, I think everybody should practice their biosafety protocols, period, period. But, but certainly, for those people who are in those categories, or if you live with someone who falls within those categories, you definitely should be masking and using great hand sanitation. Realistically, scientists will be more certain about the protection provided by the mRNA vaccines around the 1st of May. We might have a readily available and effective treatment around June 2022. And then I go on to tell them that, I've also informed our community of a 4-hour long-lasting hand sanitizer skin guard that protects for an extended period of time, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, because they're getting ready to go to, a museum that's quite hands-on. Kids are touching stuff. That's what you do in museums. You touch stuff, there's things to manipulate, and so that 2-second hand sanitizer is really not going to be as effective as having, you put on hand sanitizer and it lasts for 4 hours. That's going to be way more effective in an environment like that. And kids are notorious for not washing their hands well after they use the bathroom. So, and we don't need to go on about that discussion. So yeah, the point is, what does, those are the kinds of things that, that are happening, not just to me, but I'm sure to other people around this country, about getting out there as they have reduced the mask mandates or the vaccine requirements, and what that's going to mean for you personally as you decide to go forward with your life. Now, do I want my son to go to the Adler Planetarium? He's been going to, he's not that interested in it. If they had said the Shed Aquarium, he probably would have been way more interested in going to that one, because that's more of his favorite museum. He thinks that the Adler is kind of boring, personally. But I wouldn't say to a parent, no, you shouldn't do that. All I'm saying is you still need to practice your biosafety protocols no matter what, and you especially need to do it now because BA2 is taking off, really taking off. I have some concerns that for those people who are choosing to just get out there willy-nilly, taking everything off, not necessarily engaging in the biosafety protocols, especially if they have comorbidities or if they live with somebody that has, that falls within those categories. Because that's how this thing is going to spread and spread wildly. Even if you are, let me backtrack a little bit. I watched the Instagram program with Dr. Lane Rowling and Queenie. Queenie is vaccinated. And Dr. Lane Rowling is doing much better. He looks way, 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 way better than he did a few weeks ago. But he's been 6 weeks on this journey, unvaccinated, and got COVID. And he came into this with the very, very healthy. A guy who worked out, who hiked, and it just kicked his ass for real. Queenie is vaccinated and she's doing well, but she's also, she also takes physically fit, takes care of herself. And, and so the thing is that you don't want to get this thing if you can avoid it. I mean, just not. And and one of the things he talked about was that, if you get it a second time, the death rates for if you've had it twice can go up. That's disconcerting to me. I haven't seen the data on that, but You don't want to get it. You don't certainly don't want to get it two, three, four, 5 times. Um, um, I just wanted to share that with you today because I'm sitting up here. I like literally just before I got on today's call, I'm sitting up here writing to other parents about this whole issue around them going to school and going to, like this one parent who's trying to front the school about their mask wearing policy. I happen to know that that I spent a lot of time with the principal at the very beginning of this pandemic, and we talked about, their capacity to even make any changes to the HVAC system. And because they rent the space in this particular building, they have no capacity to change the HVAC system. And because of the structure of the building and where they are, they would have to buy miniature or portable rooms, the room size air purifiers for every single room in order to purify all of the air at all of the different spaces. Now they did get one for like the large communal room where all the kids hang out, especially because the kids are also eating lunch in that room. So those two communal areas, they put air purifiers in. But because it's a rental space, they didn't have the capacity to change the HVAC system. Um, so as we go forward and as we think through, where we're going and what we're doing, these are some things that we have to think about. And sometimes we might have to teach our kids um, why we're doing what it is that we're doing and why we can do it in certain situations and not in others. So, yes, like Sunday, we were child and I were walking down the street, and I pointed out to him that there was a particular restaurant in our neighborhood that has air ventilation and purified air, and then we should try out that particular restaurant because it would be safer to eat in that restaurant because they did have the air filtration systems in there. Um, Nonetheless, he does have a personal ionizer. So it's like, okay, that's what you can wear if, in any instance, whether the place has air purification or not, you put on your ionizer and you can pretty much go wherever you want. You don't have to worry about whether they have air purification or not. But those are some of the reasons why we talk about these things, because we know that at some point, you know, um, like right now, not some point, right now, we know that there are places that are lifting up all the requirements, not because they're concerned about your safety, but because they want to keep making the money. Okay. Um, I don't know. I went on a rant. I'm sorry. But I'm just really like, oh my God, they're trying to get on this poor teacher, the poor principal for having a mask mandate and being upset, and then not really reading through all of the fine print and really reading through about why in certain circumstances you can do certain things and while in other circumstances you can't. You know, yeah, at the Adler where they have an air ventilation system and air purification system, yeah, you can go without a mask in that particular setting. But that doesn't mean that the Field Museum, which is right next door, I don't think that they've put in an air purification system. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. But as far as I know, they have not. Uh, so you can't, you have to wear a mask when you're in there. So I guess the moral of this story is do your research and, and know the environment in which you are walking into and know what tools you need to take with you, no matter where you go. You have the ability to go wherever you want to go and pretty much do whatever you want to do. It's just that do you have the tools that you need in order to really live that experience in a robust way? There were some questions in the chat, and I want to go right to that questions. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Um, Oh, so Nia asked, where's the letter? If you signed up and was a member of our community, I sent the letter out, or Michelle sent the letter out last week, basically. So if you signed up to
Just
be a
Justin
part of,
got it out.
okay,
Mhm.
and you gave us your email, um, hopefully you got the letter. Do you have any information? So Paula is asking, do you have any information or opinion on the invisible mask? Looks like a badge that Dr. Rowland has spoken about. It's supposed to give protection within 3 feet proximity. Okay, so what he's talking about is actually they followed our lead on this one. The ionizers. Um, Now, if there's a badge, if there's one that actually clips to your clothes, I'd like to see it. In fact, I'm going to text him tonight about that. I haven't seen one that actually, ionizer that actually clips to your clothing. Because I think that that would be useful for, particularly for kids, rather than have something that's hanging around their neck, or the open-ended one that hangs around your neck that looks like headphones. If there is one that looks like a badge or something that you can attach to your skin, that would be even better.
Yeah,
Um,
it's Dr. Blessman, it looks like it can go on the lanyard or it can clip to your clothes, but I don't know, it's just kind of hard for me to process how it's giving you 3 feet protection when it's like a badge that you would put on going on a field trip or something.
okay, so the air tamer is the same thing. It
Yeah,
actually clips to your clothes.
yeah,
It
but the air
clips.
tamer is like, it looks like a device that would be cleaning the air, processing, because I have one, but this is flat. It's flat and it's laminated. It looks laminated. It's on his website. I didn't have a
Really?
chance to ask him specifically how it works because I caught him, I think it was yesterday, or day before at kind of the end of his talk, and he mentioned it, but it's kind of, I don't know how it would work.
Okay. Well, can you send? I want to check it out. I'm gonna check it out just like I check out anything else. What's the science? Does the science make sense? But if you could send me the link or put the link in the chat, that would be helpful.
Okay, will do.
Thank you, Ms. McNair. Because I'd
You're
like to
welcome.
see if there's something that can attach to your clothing. Uh, that could be useful.
Yeah.
I just
Because
tapped in. I just heard y'all. Y'all talking about that. I just got in. Y'all talking about a badge, like a mask or a clear mask or something like that.
He calls
no,
it the invisible mask, but
Wow.
when I looked it up on his website, it looks like a badge. It's not anything to go across the face. And it looks like it has a clip, like if you had a,
From your job ID.
right, job
Yeah,
ID.
someone else sent it to me too.
Yeah, interesting.
I couldn't
Okay.
find it anywhere else. It was looked up. Someone else looked it up, not just me. Someone looked it up and I couldn't find it. They could not find it anywhere. So
Yeah.
if you didn't find it,
While you're talking, I'll see if I can find it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate
Uh-huh.
that. Because
Sure.
we know that the air ionizers, send out enough negative ions in like in a 3 foot radius, but they're talking about, front, back, all of that. So that's, they're not just talking about like just 3 feet in front of you. They're talking about around your head. Like it would be almost like if you had a helmet around your head, like an invisible helmet around your head.
well, I think that's
Um,
better than that's enough.
Right, because the idea is that you're breathing in any viral particles, and that is the point. Um, yeah, so I heard him talk about that as well, but I'm not sure. I didn't see it. I went on the website and I didn't see that. I didn't see it, but if it's there, I'd love to take a look at it. Um, um, okay, so okay. Yeah, I didn't see him on Clubhouse. I just saw him on the Instagram. So you know, he sounded better to me because there was a time a couple of weeks ago where after talking for 20 minutes, it was clear that he had trouble breathing and talking at the same time. So I don't know, what's going on. But the bottom line is, what we're learning from this is that, we don't know, you can be a very healthy person and get COVID. And for some people, it's a mild cold. For some people, it might be a nothing burger. But for somebody else, even somebody that's relatively healthy, it could be really, really, really bad. And then I've known people that have had comorbidities who got it and got COVID and it was a nothing burger. And then people with comorbidities and it took them out. So I have no way of being able to predict for you specifically, for any person that's in this listening audience, how this is going to impact you. If you've had it and you survived it, well, thank God, you survived it. Okay. And my heart is with you, that you survived it, you got past it, you got through it. Maybe you got whatever genetic combination or whatever, some kind of inborn resilience that, gives you some protection genetically that allowed you to be able to, not be impacted by it. But it's a crapshoot because we don't know. We don't, it may hit, if I got it, it may hit me one way. If Michelle gets it, it may hit her an entirely different way. We have no way of being able to predict that at this moment. I think there are folks that are doing some genetic studies trying to take a look at if there's a reason why some people get like long haul COVID versus, recover fairly quickly. But it'll be years before we really know if there's, what those genetic studies are going to show. Okay. So one of the questions we have on here is, do you have any natural immunity after, if you've had Omicron before? Yes, and Michelle was correct. No, Nia, you'll get some antibodies, but just like the antibodies we get from our vaccines, they don't last. But you do have one of the things that happens after whether you get vaccinated or whether you get Omicron itself, you will have T cell memory cells that sit in your lymph nodes. And if you get reinfected again, those memory cells will kick in to help you fight it off. So you still have some other protection against COVID, but whether that's going to, like, for example, if you got the Wuhan strain a couple of years ago and then you got exposed to Omicron, we don't know that those T memory cells are going to help you or not. They're still doing the research on that. And they're looking at like those who had previous infections and then what happens when they got reinfected by a different version. What is the hospitalization rates? What is the death rates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a whole lot of, really?
That's it. Yep.
Dr. Blessman, I don't know about the technology on that. It says it kills most all viruses up to 3 feet, but I'm like the lady that first mentioned it. I am a little skeptical about that.
I'm very skeptical.
Right. I mean, it's like, how is that going to kill, something within 3 feet?
It says that when you crack it open or something, and I read the technology on the the little bit they put on their website, that the charcoal releases ionizers to ionize the particles, but I'm like a little bit skeptical of that.
Yeah.
Not for, the regular price is $32.99. That price is a sale price of $29.99. I actually went to their website.
No.
I mean, well, that's what I'm saying to you too. I'm saying no, and I'm saying that from my
Mm.
scientific point of view, I don't trust that and I don't believe it. It sounds like a scam to me.
It is a scam. I'm saying it is too. I touch and agree with you.
Okay. Nah.
Other people
Okay.
look this stuff up too, you know.
Okay. Yeah, isochlor, I never heard of that. Okay. So, again, if they say the research is pending, okay, let me see the research. Let's see.
I love you, Dr. Blessman. I love you.
And they're saying that it's
Data.
FDA approved, but I could not find that on the FDA website. So
But I
think
thought it wasn't approved. You saw where it says it's approved?
it says, and on Dr. Rowland's website, it says FDA approved.
No, but not.
And on their website, it's a big sign that says FDA approval.
On the actual website? On his website?
On the actual product's website. But he also has that as FDA approved.
On the actual product website.
Well, isn't the patent pending? Isn't it pending?
Well, the patent says it's pending, but the patent has nothing to do with the FDA. The patent goes to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. The FDA is the Federal Drug and Administration, Food and Drug Administration. Two different offices have nothing to do with each other.
Thank you.
Correct.
But so they're saying it's approved. Let me ask you, but Dr. Rowland, he had COVID, right? Did he get it twice?
He says he got it the first time was before we even knew what it was, like in December of 2019, somewhere right in there. He said he got it very early on before they really knew what was going on. And then he got it again recently.
So I have a question for you. We don't know what it does, but does it do you know if it lays dormant in the body, like, tuberculosis and stuff like that, and chicken pox? Is it something that lays dormant?
I've been trying, because that was one of the things that he mentioned in his broadcast. So I was looking for data about that. We do know that for some people, it does lie dormant in the body. That's why some people are still testing positive for COVID months after they've had it, and their symptoms are gone and all that, but they still are testing positive because it's still showing up. It's somewhere in their body. I don't know how long they're still doing testing. I mean, we're still 2 years in with this disease. So we know that there have been people, like some of the way that some of the variants have come about has been because it got into someone's body who was infected, who had some other kind of illness, and it stayed in their bodies remember there was a person from South Africa, and then they eventually died, but that particular, I think the Delta variant came out of that, and it had been in that person's body for a very, 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 very long time. So we know that it can, not necessarily for every person, but for some people it does. And again, we don't know whether Christy's gonna clear it, but I'm going to keep it. If I were to get infected, we have no way of knowing that for sure. Like, in whom is this virus going to lay dormant in?
They're just now doing the science on long haul COVID with the, one of the major side effects or symptoms was the taste and the smell. Mm-hmm. So they're just now getting data back on the test, on the smell and the taste. So we
Right.
have a
So
long way to go.
we
So,
do. So that's what I was gonna say. It's like some people are comparing it to, when people have chickenpox virus and that stays dormant in your body, you have it as a kid, but then it comes back as shingles later on in life. And that's what they're comparing it to, but we don't know enough about this virus. I mean, we have a lot of more studying to do and looking at what is it going to do to somebody in 5 to 10 years, because we just don't know.
We don't know. And I think that, as critical thinkers, everybody in this group tends to be a very critical thinker, analytic, thinking through, and being able to understand that there are times when scientists really don't know. They don't ever, sometimes they don't ever say, well, we don't know, or that is a piece of unexplored territory, or we are still working through the process of getting to understand that particular dynamic. But I'm glad that you all recognize that is indeed the case, that there are things that we don't know. And it's better that, if you don't know what the answer is, it's better to just be able to be honest about it and just say, they don't really know. Like, we don't really know what BA2 is going to do, but they've made decisions about whether we can wear masks or not, and that, even though they really don't know. So all I'm asking you to do is, wait 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, we're going to have a better idea. You've worn masks all this time. What's another 3 weeks or another month or 60 or even 60 days? Is that really going to, if it keeps you safe, does it really matter that, that you wear it another 60 days for sure?
Dr. Blessman, I mean, it's like, and I think Dr. Rowland and other doctors have said that. And like, to me, I don't feel that I can listen to the CDC anymore because they have let politics influence them so much. What we have to realize is that we're going to have peaks and valleys of this virus, and every time people commune together on holidays, Mother's Day, Memorial Day, Easter, all that's coming up, we're going to see it spike back up, because we have to remember, we don't have a cure for this. We have a vaccine that helps keep us out of the hospital or getting some of us critically ill. So I can't even say 60 days. I need for everybody to say they're going to wear their mask for the next couple of years until somebody develops some kind of cure, because we don't know if those Pfizer pills going to work. Because I mean, what we have to look at is all the money that Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson have made off the government. I don't know if y'all looked at it, but I looked at it. Some of them have made $60 billion, and they're projecting to make more. This is about making money. This is not about saving lives. And we do not have a cure. And I'm like, okay, I used to work in tissue culturing and work with anti-cancer drugs. I know it takes longer for us to come up with any kind of drug or vaccine. So we are all in unknown territory. This is new territory that we're chartering. So it's like, you can't take what they're saying to heart. You have to do what's best for you and your family and your situation, because they're not going to tell you the truth. And they really don't care if we get sick at this point. All they care about is $1.
Well, you are certainly correct about that. They don't care if we get sick or not, as long as we're not flooding the hospitals. And yes, their decision is being based on economic reasons. So, but that's not the situation here. And so, in terms of this group and what it is that we're going towards, and the best person that's going to ultimately the person that's going to protect you is you. I wouldn't even take what I say with a grain of salt and just say, okay, make the best decision for your situation. Okay. What makes sense for you? I don't have they say a pony in this race. So I'm not trying to, appease the restaurant owners, and I'm not trying to appease the movie theater owners, and I'm not trying to, quite frankly, I don't care if y'all never buy another ionizer, another piece of Skin Guard, Living Guard, whatever. I think they're good products, but if there's something better that comes out, I'm going to let you know that there's something better out there. So, because I'm good in that way. I don't have to, I don't need to make money off of these products. So I'm just focused on what's best, what is the best out there, and what is the healthiest thing you can do given people's situations. Now, I have to admit, I'm coming from a point of view where I have a husband that has comorbidities. I have my own. I'm anemic, and I am overweight. My and my husband also has had a stroke and has had some blood clotting issues. So my thing is, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing everything that I need to do, and that in order to protect him, because there's nothing, he can't be replaced. And so what are the strategies and the biosafety techniques that need to be in place to protect him and to protect all of us so that we don't bring anything home to him? And I'm presuming that honestly, that most of us, because I was listening to somebody and they said something about, I won't say listen to somebody. I was listening to the current, now she's not public health officer. I think her name was Walensky for the United States. And she was saying, oh, well, 90% of the people can take their mask off. And I said, she lying. She a lie. 90% of the people out here cannot take their mask off. If you think about it, first of all, if you are a part of those, first of all, what, 1 in 4, well, half of the American population is obese. So they definitely should not be taking their mask off. And that includes me, okay? And then if you live with somebody that's immunocompromised, who has obesity or has heart issues, lung issues, if you're living with somebody with comorbidities, then that's another, so when you start thinking about this, there might be 10% of the population that could theoretically take their masks off, meaning they are like really, really healthy, they're vaccinated, and they don't live with anybody that's got comorbidities. And when you start looking at what number of people is that really? Because I bet you if just looking at just in this group, I bet you either all of us in this group either have comorbidities or we live with somebody that has comorbidities. Unvaccinated comorbidities, or we live with somebody that's unvaccinated or has comorbidities. So we start talking about that on a worldwide population or a nationwide population, that means that there's very few people that should be walking around, without masks and without, some kind of protection. So that 90% was ridiculous. And, I just think that what I had to say in terms of, here are the groups of people that need to be more cautious and more careful, particularly as we lead up with this variant, and we still didn't put it up there yet, with this variant growing.
Justin, can you put that on, can you share that screen?
The
COVID, the variant tracker.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Please. And Sister Chrissy put in there, she found the letter from the Federal Trade Commission that invisible mask is a scam.
Okay.
Please do not buy it. Please do not buy that.
That's very sad. Oh my God.
I mean, it just takes a little bit of research. Please do not buy that.
Yeah, no intention. Someone asked me about it. I'm glad y'all were talking about it tonight.
Okay. Okay. Well, see, I love it. I love that, we have a group of people here. Oh, Christy found it. Okay, great, Christy. Thank you. Okay.
I really
Okay,
appreciate y'all.
keep going down. I believe it's further down. Oh, it didn't show up. Oh, dang. It did not show up. No, mine didn't look like that. That's a data tracker. Um, hmm.
You sent the link already?
Yeah, let me see. Uh, dang it.
I sent a link to you, Justin, in your chat, but hold on.
Okay, so it was that.
Yes.
It looks the same.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a picture of it.
I got it. Hold on, Dr. Blessing.
I sent the link in the chat.
Oh my God.
Okay, so I sent a picture of it, of the variant tracker.
Oh, the variant tracker. Wait a minute, because I have the link actually.
I just sent the graph. Because I think that
Yeah, but that, hold on.
I sent it to both you and Justin.
Yeah, but that doesn't work like that, Dr. Blessman. Thank you for the text message.
I'm sorry.
There we go. There we go.
There you go. Okay, so so you see BA2 is now 11.6 on 326.
Are we down
Yeah.
the page?
Yeah, and then like 219, see how it's creeping up? So on 25, well, I think maybe 129, it kind of started showing up. Or maybe 122 started showing up. And see how it's getting bigger and bigger, and that light purple. Okay.
Down here.
Mm-hmm. And it's now even marked BA.2, bottom right. Okay. So so that's by 3.5. So imagine, okay, this thing is doubling, tripling even. Well, last week they said it was like 3%, 3 point something percent, 3.8. Now they're saying it's 11.6. So that's almost a tripling. Although visually it doesn't look like a triple, but the numbers say it's almost a tripling.
Like you can see it from like right here to here.
Yes. Yes. So imagine what this is going to look like, as we start over the next few months, right? If it doubles or triples, if it doubles, we're talking 22% by this time next week. And then if it doubles, 42% 2 weeks from now.
Then we're right back up again.
Well, right. It will become the main variant. Understand that the research follows from the variant becoming the predominant strain, because you need enough people with it in order for them to follow and to do the research on it. So it's almost like you got to get up to like 30-40% before they can really start doing any really robust research on it. Okay, really taking a look at, does the vaccine actually provide us any protection?
Okay.
Does the vaccine really keep you from being less likely to be hospitalized or to die from it. So they need to be able to compare enough people with the other version. Don't take it down, put it back up.
Okay.
And as you notice, Delta is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Delta is now zero percentage of the population. But they have whatever data they've got now. So they know what the sort of like the death and hospitalization and infection rates were under Delta. So now they're going to be looking at comparing not only Omicron altogether, but also these specific strains of Omicron, particularly BA2. And we just don't know right now whether the provides us any, protection even against serious illness or death. We don't really know. I mean, they're hoping, just a hope and a prayer,
Can you put
and
that in the chat, Dr. Blessman?
what do you want in the
Link.
chat?
The track that you're on now, that you're showing us.
Hold on.
Can you put that? Yes, can you put that?
Thank you.
Dr. Blessman, if they do not make a vaccine for each variant, I can already tell you that it's not going to work. It's not going to protect us. It's like, stop lying to us.
Correct.
Okay.
Well,
Like, if you don't have the research, you're not able to look at the genetic makeup of the virus, you cannot possibly create a vaccine. That is hogwash where I come from. That is a lie. It's no need to lie to people. That's why you have to keep your mask on. The mask and all the safety protocols that we talk about on here, that's the only thing that's going to protect us. You cannot rely on that vaccine.
Correct.
I want to just
know
add something. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I listened to something and I sent you. I hope you got it, Dr. Blessman. I texted to you. I hope I did it right. I listened to something called the closed curtain on a COVID theater. I don't know how long they're going to have it up, but I stayed up late last night listening to it. And they even said they might take it down. There was a lot of scientists, different people on it, a huge panel of people talking about, how the CDC is not telling the truth, how they didn't recommend it for children really, because they didn't think it was effective. Children do pretty well, on their own, as you said. And then one thing they said, I didn't really quite understand or appreciate. They were saying that it's almost like you don't have to wear masks, unless I misunderstood it. So you can look at it if you have time.
Okay.
That part disturbed me, but they were saying how a lot of them, they take a chance of, presenting what they're doing because they have told doctors so many times that they can't, treat the patients they want to treat them. So it's really good information on there, just to
Okay.
listen to it.
I did get it. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And I will be listening to that.
And I will
later on.
say that in Florida said they I think one of the first to say they're not going to mandate the children take this vaccine at all.
Wait a minute, that they're not going
They're not going to
the
mandate the
vaccines.
children, in Florida,
that they take their masks off?
No, the vaccine,
That they-
for the
right.
children.
Well, that's because so the vaccines that we got were based on the Wuhan strain, right? That strain is long gone.
Sure enough, because I had the
Okay.
Delta, I think.
Delta is gone. Okay, you
Mhm.
notice now it's like 0%. So they're trying to give children a vaccine for a version of the virus that's no longer here.
Not effective.
And if you look at the effectiveness rate, they were saying it's like 12%.
11%, yep. Got it.
11%.
Mm-hmm.
So basically it's a failure.
Absolutely.
Because it has to be at least at 25 and preferably over 50% in order to say that it has some kind of utilitarian value. So it has none, basically if it's at 11, 12%, then it means it's really useless. So, and it's, more than likely it's useless because it was a vaccine that was based on an outdated strain of COVID. So our children, our littlest children, 5 to 11, there's, they're still unprotected, other than masking, wearing an ionizer, and having a really great hand sanitizer. And to be honest, we don't know for sure that the mRNA vaccines that we got are, is it still, we won't know for sure and for a couple of more weeks that it has any value against Omicron BA2. And that's just, I'm not trying to be the harbinger of bad news. This is the reality. This is the scientific fact. They don't know until they actually do the research. So I'm not going to walk out here thinking that, oh yeah, just because I got vaccinated that I'm somehow safe. I might be, and I might not. But I will tell you one thing, if I have my mask on and my hand sanitizer on and my ionizer with me, I know I'm going to have way more protection, So.
Dr. Weston, my daughter, against my best judgment, she gave her daughter a party, and I didn't want to go, but I went to be the police, to be the nurse, to be the virologist, all that you want to call. And I had my home medics, a huge one. I had plugged it in. I had the skin guards. I had the ionizer on her and my grandbaby. Couldn't count for the other kids, but I had it clipped onto my grandbaby and to her. I couldn't put it on her neck, but I clipped it on her. She's only 8 months, but I clipped it on her anyway. And my granddaughter had hers. And so, like you said, you have to carry with you. You cannot not go. So I knew they were going to go. So I had to go and, make sure all the kids had it and tell everybody to put the mask on. And they got sick of me, but I did what I knew I needed to do from listening to learning from here. It helped me, I couldn't fight them. So that was my way of fighting them.
You know what? And that's a way of being able to help them to live and thrive, even in the midst of all of this. There are things you can still do. You can still go. You can go to the birthday party, but this is what you're gonna have to wear to take with you.
Remember you saying it about your son? Yeah.
Put the hand sanitizer on, and you go to the
birthday. What's this?
So
I've told people about it. So.
My son is over here listening to us having this conversation.
No, we said hello.
My group members are saying hello to you, Ben. But yeah, so I applaud you for being the COVID police, the COVID ninja for your family.
I like that better, ninja. Thank you.
You are doing what you need to do to make sure that they stay safe, because this thing isn't over with until we have a cure for COVID. And we do not have a cure for COVID today. They're working on one, but they don't have one yet. And I have something to say about that piece too, about the somebody earlier mentioned that we don't know if these pills are going to work. You're right. They're still trying to determine if the COVID pills are even going to work, number one. And number two, they're already expressing some concerns about some drug interactions between the COVID pills and diabetes medication, and drug interactions between the COVID pills and high blood pressure medication.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Okay. So think about the two chronic diseases that are the most prevalent in the United States: high blood pressure and diabetes.
They just gonna kill us all. They just gonna kill us all.
So I'm like, okay.
One way or another.
Okay. So there's a whole lot that we don't know. And so, yeah, so even if they did find Paxlovid to be a workable solution for some people, if you are diabetic or if you have high blood pressure, it may not be workable for you. And you may be in, still doing biosafety protocols because they don't have a cure for you.
And that's really real. That's in a real sense of clinical trials. It's the same thing that happened with Black men with HIV, with the new drug. They got that new drug and they were just, popping the pills, and found that their longevity was not in that pill. Because my friends were dying with that new virus pill. Not the cocktail, but the one that came after it. Because they were not physiologically, there was no real clinical trial on Black men with this new drug. They were dying left and right because the medicine was affecting their liver, their kidneys. So it's the same efficacy with these new drugs. And this Plaxil, whatever.
Paxil.
Yeah, I'm not taking that.
Did you order today? No, I didn't order today.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that is just the way medicine has been as long as I remember it. We were never on top of the disease the minute it hit. We were always behind it, looking for the right treatment. And sometimes years down the road. I mean, I was out there selling for 40 years and I haven't seen it any differently. I managed clinical trials. They've always been that way. So, I mean, we are armed and equipped with information to make good decisions for ourselves. And I just think that we cannot be afraid to want to try and save ourselves. We're just as smart, we're just as bright, and we can make the same reckless decisions they're making. We have more information than they do. So I don't even know what the new protocol is. I know I'm not taking my mask off. I may wear it for the rest of my life, quite frankly. Especially in the wintertime, because it keeps me warm. But I think by the time they figure out B1, we'll be already at B3.
Wow. I'm just reading this. You are okay. You are so correct, Ms. Walker. I don't know that we have, I don't know. Sometimes I think, well, I don't necessarily think that I'm the smartest person in the room or that I have some information that other people don't have. It's just that my priorities are different. And I think that sometimes when people's priorities are about the economy or people's priorities are about the medications they want to sell, people's priorities are about something else. I mean, I think that's what clouds people's judgment. And you see systems that are built up in that way. But I think at the end, I think you're absolutely right in the sense that I think that we will all have to make the best decision that we need to make for ourselves. There are going to be people who are going to make a decision based on their financial pocketbook, or they'll make a decision based upon peer pressure. I mean, I felt sorry for the kids who took their mask off when that governor told them to take their mask off and kind of bullied them about taking their mask off. That was an adult applying peer pressure. to young kids, to younger children, or to young people.
And that was
Um,
so inappropriate.
so inappropriate, very. Um, so we all have to be, mindful of that. Um, we're going to get those messages. This is just as much a psychological problem as it is a medical crisis. And, and particularly now when you've got, as I mentioned earlier, about the parent that was, trying to shame or cast shade on the principal because of the mask requirement, the in-school mask requirement in my child's school. But yet, deriding her for, well, my child can't go if there's going to be a mask requirement if they go to to the Adler Planetarium. Well, they set it up, I mean, just all the ways in which people react, and the fact that we can't have courteousness or grace for everybody's situation, and that people's situation can differ. My child might need to wear a mask all day when he's inside. Not might, he will need to wear a mask or his ionizer when he's indoors in school. Period. The end of the story. He lives with two parents who are over 55. Period. The end in the story. We have comorbidities. Period. The end in the story. It's unfortunate that that's the situation he's in, but that is the situation he's in. You know, we cannot afford to, get COVID, even though, vaccinated, we can't afford to get COVID. His life would change dramatically if one or both of us got COVID and died from it, or got seriously, sick from it, in ways that he couldn't even begin to imagine how his life would change or be different. Um, and so every family, every person is going to have to make, the decisions that they need to make. And I hope that, this group will strengthen your resolve about doing what you need to do for your family. Period. The end in the story, with no apologies. But at the same time, live a full life with no apologies. Because I want you to live your best life. Absolutely. Um, Carol, can you tell us about that new study? You wrote about it in the chat. I'm changing subjects here. There's a new study that came out yesterday.
I listened to Tom Hardy where that on the and I saw that it was a New York Times article, and then there were several other articles saying the same thing. Basically, just what I wrote on the chat. They had these people that they had brain scans of prior to COVID that actually got COVID in another time, and they were all in this study, and they tested them or they monitored them from the beginning of COVID, which was of course before the vaccine, up through April of last year. And all of them had, the ones that had COVID all had brain tumors. And that was basically the study that they deduced that COVID caused brain tumor, loss of brain matter.
That is scary. I'm going to have to read that article, because that is scary. Because they basically,
Yeah.
if you got COVID, see, they had participants in the UK that underwent 2 brain scans 3 years apart. They happened to find some people that had brain scans before COVID happened. Then these people got COVID, and then they gave them brain scans afterwards. And they lost a significant amount of gray matter during that time. And they contribute that to the infection, the COVID infection. That is scary.
I just put the one from the New York Times in there, CNN has the same, I'll just come on.
Right. So somebody asked, any new information about COVAX? Nothing now. I know I haven't seen anything about COVAX.
I just put
Novavax
an
is
article
supposed-
in the chat, Dr. Blessman.
Okay, okay. I had heard something about them trying to do an Omicron specific version. But you know, I haven't heard any updates on that.
The article is in the chat about Novavax.
Okay, did you get a chance to review that or?
Yes, it was just the 1 day ago.
Okay.
Let's see.
Also, while you look for that, Miss Michelle, just want to give the community a heads up that we have 15 minutes left, Doctor.
Oh, okay.
Just,
Okay.
The
Okay,
U.S.
we
is
will-
about to approve a fourth COVID vaccine that could be a silver bullet solution to the anti-vax crisis.
Okay, so yeah, so if they, you know, we know that it's going to produce more antibodies, and if it's good against Omicron, then that would be a better vaccine to get. And if that one comes out, it'll be safer and it'll be geared towards the current version that's out. You know, that would be the one that I would get next. I wouldn't even try to get another mRNA. Somebody asked, so none of the vaccines are good. The next best vaccine would be one that is built off of the current variant that's out there right now.
So you said the Novax and the Covax?
Novavax.
Novavax, and there's a Covax too?
Vaccinity.
Yeah, COVAX changed its name to Vaccinity.
Okay.
And I
How you
don't have
spell
any.
that?
VAXXINITY.
But I think they pulled out
Okay, so it's the Novavax.
Novavax.
Okay.
So you think Vaccinity has
I
pulled
heard
out?
that
They
one.
pulled out
Really?
Vaccinity, yeah. Or it's not
But
coming
the
into the States.
Novavax, you still need two, right? You still need two with the Novavax.
Novavax is coming. I don't know if we need one or two, but I mean, at this point, we would be on the booster side.
Right.
It's a money game right now. Novavax, they're even struggling. They're looking for some investors because Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson & Johnson, they pretty much, you know, they took the money at the top. If you were ready in the beginning, you got the money. So it doesn't necessarily mean how good your platform is. They need money
Yeah.
for the supply and chain.
Mhm.
So isn't that in Canada or some places they're taking that? Certain places.
Novavax, I believe, was approved in Canada. That I haven't heard anything new about Vaccinity, and nothing. If you go to their homepage and look at their pipeline, it has not changed at all. You know, it's still showing phase 2 for their COVID-19 vaccine. So
I hope they
it
get to
just,
know that.
One thing before we go,
Mhm.
Dr. Blessman, Sister Christy said that our Skin Guard link does not hold our discount. The price changed. She bought 2 bottles at $19 a piece.
No.
This is just recently?
Yes, I just purchased them Saturday and I went back, Michelle, I looked at it. Evidently the $19.95 does include the shipping and handle. Lynn said I purchased 2 of them. They were it was $39.90 for the entire order, and it still says it's processing. And that was Saturday.
So I think that includes I think that is the discount, Ms. Christie, with the shipping, because the discount there is no discount on the shipping and handling. There's only the discount on the
price of the bottle.
Well, some of the prices of the bottles, I was gonna order more, but when it told me that the discount didn't work, that's why I didn't order more. I'm like, that's kind of pricey, and it's only a 1 ounce bottle.
Right, it's a 1 ounce bottle, but 100 applications in the bottle. How many? Miss Christie, how many bottles did you want?
I wanted to order 5.
5. Okay.
I ordered 2, so I still want 3 more.
Did it go through already, or you're still waiting for it to process?
It says that it's processing on the website.
Okay, I will call Elisa tomorrow.
Because I kept trying to put it in and it told me that no discount code was not valid.
Because it should be built in the link.
Well,
that was my understanding.
Okay.
I didn't do mine that way. I guess they called when I called, and I did mine. I ordered the whole box, and I did get a discount.
So you called, but you called them.
Yeah, because she sent a message, and then I spoke with her.
Okay, so that's a little different than going through the online, because the idea was if you went online, that should make it simpler rather than having to call them, especially for smaller orders. It's one thing if you're buying a box or a case.
They had sent it. I had them send it, to someone else, take some stuff out and send it, and I just paid the difference for them to mail it, break it up.
Christy, can you, I'm gonna put my phone number, I'm gonna in the message to you.
Okay.
And I will call Alyssa tomorrow about your order. And I will order, I'll try out the link myself. I've not tried out the link. So.
Yeah, and I need to try the link next Friday. And I'm like, oh, what, really?
So if you order like a case or a dozen of them, what kind of discount did they say they would give?
I think if it's a, let me look it up. Because we got different. So if it's less than 24 bottles, it's $15.25 each.
Okay.
Once you order 24 bottles, it's $12 each, of course, plus shipping, handling, and but I'm going to try it. So if it's less than 24 bottles, so if you're doing 2 bottles, Christy, and you put in Auset-Isis 10.
Well, I tried to do 5 bottles, but when I put in the Auset-Isis 10, it didn't work. So that's when I just dropped it down to 2. I wanted to call you or Michelle and ask y'all about the discount before I order more.
Got you. I will check out the link personally. And I'll check out the link personally, and I'll give you a call.
Thank you.
I just sent you my phone number.
Okay.
Should be in the chat. And let me call them tomorrow. Let me check it out first myself, because I want to make sure that it's really, not working, and I can give them a clearer idea of what the problem is. Well, we will resolve it one way or the other, okay? That is my favorite go-to
Mine too.
And while we're on the topic of our different products, I wanted to ask the community that, you know, when you're using the skin guard or you're using the living guard mask, to maybe take a picture of yourself or a picture of your activity and start sending them to us. And we can start putting out testimonies to show that this is how our community is thriving and not just surviving through this pandemic. We want to see you guys out there, you know, going to the grocery store or, you know, traveling around the city or going to a birthday party or walking down the street, let alone at this point, in any of your biosafety kit gear. And I'm going to put my Auset email in the chat if you feel like forwarding that to me, or if you want to just shoot us messages that say, hey, I always feel comfortable when I go to X, Y, and Z because I have my skin guard mask. We want to put your testimonies on our website so that way, you know, it's another place of comfort and safety when we're trying to show how we're thriving and just surviving. We don't want to just put, you know, the doctor's splendid Hawaiian vacation and an adventure up on the side of my London adventures, or Miss Michelle traveling all over the country. We want to see you guys in the everyday activities that you do, because that's what's driving this new world, is the everyday responsibilities and activities that we have to do, regardless of Omicron, BA2, BA5, Delta, any of it. We're still surviving through the world.
Yes, yes. And on that note, I have to also send to you, Justin, the pictures from Toya and Bob Horn. They are back on a cruise ship. They're doing a 5-day cruise, and they've got their, you know, they have their biosafety essentials with them, and they are cruising. They're on a cruise ship.
Okay. Love it.
You know, so they're not, you know, and they've been to Florida, and I think this is like their second cruise so far. They haven't, you know, so yeah, so they're, you know, they're doing it. You know, we're doing it up. And you know, I think it probably would have been really cute to see the picture of, this is the grandmother who was just on, who said she pinned the ionizer onto the grandbaby, and they went to the birthday party.
I sure did.
Yeah.
I need to see if I have a picture.
Yeah. That's what I mean. You know, like, you don't have to, you know, your life don't have to stop. You just with a little bit of resolve and using your tools, you can still do all the things that, you know, you still pretty much do everything that you have wanting to do. In fact, tonight, I know, Justin, we warned us, we only got a few minutes. We were going to talk about, should you go to Coachella? And we were talking about, all the ways you could, well, possibly go to Coachella. We still have to see how this BA2 is going to play out, but, you know, but we can do a worst case scenario version next week about, should you go to Coachella?
We have Coachella coming up, and then all the, like, as 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds have spring break this month.
Ooh, is it this? Oh yeah, because it's at the end of this month, right?
Mm-hmm. So things are ramping, you know, things are starting to come full circle with activity.
And that also means that those 18, 19, and 20-year-olds live with people.
Yep.
They're gonna spread that virus like peanut butter.
Yep. Miss Carol says some already started this week. What month? Early spring? Man.
That chart that Dr. Blessman shared with us, those numbers, and going on also to John Hopkins tracker, I will be very interested to see in the next couple of weeks how those numbers turn out.
Right. And what can I say? Because what can I say? So maybe next week's discussion should be spring break, Coachella, and the young people you live with or who come into your neighborhood or your house, how you deal with that. You know? Because that's something to think about.
Yes.
You know.
Dr. Rogers, Dr. Blessman, we're gonna have a conversation on Thursday, I'll give you a call because we do have a guest speaker.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay,
right.
sounds good. That sounds good, Michelle.
All right. All right. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, let's call it a night. Keep your mask up or your ionizers rolling. You know, use your skin guard. It really doesn't matter what variant comes down the pike. We still have to keep our biosafety. We still need to keep practicing our biosafety protocols. Period. Don't stop. You know, and I hope that tonight just gives you more resolve and a deeper understanding of why you know you need to continue to do this, because we don't know what it is that we don't know can actually hurt us. If this thing doubles again in the next week, and then doubles again the week after that, then you know we know what we're headed towards. So but we can still live and thrive and not just survive in this pandemic. All right. Good night, everyone. See
Good
you
night,
later.
Dr. Blessing. Thank you so much.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.